I kept my options open because she kept hers. That's really the whole story, but since you're here, I'll give you the full version. I'm 31, warehouse supervisor at a distribution center outside Columbus. Been with the same company 7 years, worked my way up from the loading dock. I own a small ranch house I bought 4 years ago when the market dipped just enough for a guy like me to get in. 2 bedrooms, a garage I turned into a home gym. Nothing impressive, but it's mine. I pay my bills, max out my 401k contributions, show up on time. Stable. That word's gonna come back around later, so remember it. My girlfriend Paige, 27, worked retail management at one of those mid-tier clothing stores in the mall. The kind of place that's always having a sale, but nothing ever feels like a deal. We'd been together about 18 months when everything fell apart. Met through mutual friends at a 4th of July cookout. She laughed at my jokes, I liked her energy, we started hanging out, and somewhere in there it became a relationship. She moved in around the 8-month mark because her studio apartment was costing her a fortune, and splitting utilities made sense. I cleared out half the closet, gave her 2 dresser drawers, made space in the bathroom cabinet. Standard stuff. Felt natural. Her job meant weird hours, lots of evenings and weekends. I worked Monday through Friday, 7 to 3:30. We'd cross paths in the mornings on her days off, usually Tuesdays and Wednesdays. She'd make these big egg scrambles with vegetables and whatever cheese we had. I handled the coffee. We had a routine. It was comfortable. That word's gonna come back around too. The phone background thing started around month 10. We were on the couch watching one of those true crime documentaries she liked when her phone lit up on the cushion between us. The screen showed this beach photo. Golden hour lighting, waves behind her, hair caught in the wind, white dress, Paige looking off toward the horizon like she was in a travel magazine. Objectively, a beautiful shot. Professional quality? Nice photo, I said. When was that? Oh, that's from like 2 years ago. She picked up the phone, glanced at it like she was seeing it for the first time. Good lighting, right? It's my favorite picture of myself. Yeah, it's a good one. I didn't think much of it. We all have that one photo where everything just works. A few weeks later, we were at dinner with her friend Gretchen when the phone came up again. Gretchen made some offhand comment about Paige never changing her background. Said she'd had the same photo for as long as she could remember. It's just such a good picture, Paige said, holding up the phone so Gretchen could see it again, like she was showing off a painting. The lighting is perfect. I look great in it. Why would I change it? Something about the way they were talking about it felt slightly off, but I couldn't nail down why until later that night, when I asked about it directly. So, that beach photo, I said, keeping it casual. Where was that taken? California trip, a while back. Solo trip. She paused. Not long, maybe half a second, but I caught it. No, I was with my ex. But that's not why I keep it. It's genuinely just a really good photo of me. The relationship's been over forever. The photo is just a photo. And there it was. Her phone background was a photo taken by her ex-boyfriend on a romantic beach trip. Not a group shot with friends, not a family vacation. A couple's trip with her previous relationship. And she was looking at it every single time she checked her phone. That doesn't bother you? I asked. That it's from a trip with him? Why would it? The relationship ended. The photo didn't. Yeah, but he took it. On a trip you took together. You know, that's kind of a weird thing to keep as your background. She got defensive immediately, voice going sharp. You're being insecure. It's literally just a photo. Should I delete every single picture from my entire past just because I'm with you now? I'm not saying delete it. I'm saying maybe don't have it as the first thing you see every time you unlock your phone. You're making this into something it isn't. The photo has nothing to do with him. It's about me looking good in good lighting. We dropped it, but it nagged at me. Not because I'm some jealous guy who can't handle his girlfriend having a history. I've had relationships before, I get it. But there's a real difference between acknowledging someone's past and actively choosing to display it every single day. Over the next few months, I started noticing other things. She'd get texts from a guy named Garrett at odd hours. 10 at night, 11 during dinner, during movies, sometimes while I was mid-sentence talking to her. She'd always check them immediately, sometimes typing back while I was still talking. Who's Garrett? I asked one night after the third interruption in an hour. Just a friend from before. She said it the way people say it when they don't want to say more. The name kept coming up. Too often for someone who was supposedly just a friend. One Tuesday morning, we were having breakfast when her phone buzzed 3 times back to back, all from Garrett. She picked it up, smiled at whatever he'd sent, typed back while her eggs went cold. Must be some conversation, I said. He's just being dumb. Sent me this meme about retail stuff. You guys talk about work a lot. Sometimes he just gets it, you know? The retail management thing. Where does he work? She hesitated just a beat too long. Different store. Same company, though. Same company. So they saw each other. District meetings, training sessions, probably more. So you see him at work? Sometimes. District stuff. Don't start. But the texts kept coming. Morning, afternoon, night. Constant stream of communication with this friend, while I was lucky to get half her attention during dinner. One evening, her phone was charging on the kitchen counter while she was in the shower. A text from Garrett popped up on the screen. I wasn't trying to read it, but it was right there. Miss, talking to you like we used to. I didn't go through her phone. Wasn't raised that way. But I also wasn't an idiot. My buddy Dennis from work picked up on the fact that I was off one afternoon. We were doing inventory checks in the back warehouse when he asked what was going on. Girl problems, and I told him. She say something? Not in so many words, but her phone background is a photo her ex took of her on some beach trip. And she texts this guy Garrett constantly. Gets defensive every time I bring either of them up. Dennis whistled low. Man, that's disrespectful. My wife tried something similar early on. I shut it down quick. You can have a past, but you don't display it. She says I'm being insecure. Nah, you're being normal. She's testing what you'll put up with. That conversation stayed with me. Dennis had been married 11 years and seemed to actually have it figured out. Maybe he was right. So I ran an experiment. If Paige could keep her options open by staying emotionally connected to her ex and literally staring at a photo from their relationship every day, then I could keep my options open too. Not by cheating, just by not closing myself off to other possibilities. I started small, reconnected with some female friends I'd let drift, accepted some friend requests I'd been ignoring, started actual conversations at the gym, at the grocery store, at company events. Nothing inappropriate, just being social, being available. There was a woman named Carol who worked in the front office at my facility. We'd exchanged hellos in passing for a year, but never really talked. She handled safety documentation for the whole building. Smart, quick, with a joke, easy to be around. One afternoon, I stopped by her desk to file some incident reports after one of my guys pulled something in his back, and we ended up talking for 20 minutes. These forms are a nightmare, she said, pulling up the templates on her computer. Management loves their paperwork. Tell me about it. Last month, they made the whole warehouse redo forklift certification. Guys who have been driving them for 6 years, she laughed. Oh, I remember that memo. Pretty sure half your team was cursing my name. Nah, we save the cursing for the people who write the policies, not the ones stuck enforcing them. Appreciate that? You'd be surprised how many people don't make that distinction. We kept talking while she filled out the forms. She mentioned she'd been with the company about 2 years, transferred from a facility in Michigan after a bad breakup, needed a fresh start. How's Columbus treating you? I asked. Better than I expected. Still figuring out where everything is. Found any good restaurants yet? Her eyes lit up. That's literally the thing I'm most stressed about. Everything I've tried has been chains. I gave her a few recommendations, nothing fancy, just solid local spots. She pulled out her phone to write them down, and I noticed her background was just a generic mountain landscape. Nothing personal, nothing loaded. We started having lunch together, just coworkers being friendly. Food trucks near the industrial complex trying different things. Sometimes Paige came up, sometimes she didn't. One Saturday, we met at this Ethiopian place in the short north. Small, packed, authentic. The kind of spot where you eat with your hands and order the combo platter and just commit to the experience. This is incredible, Carol said, tearing off a piece of injera. Why did nobody tell me about this place? Maybe they wanted to keep it a secret. We sat there for 2 hours, talked about her life before Columbus, my path from loading dock to supervisor, our families, our completely different opinions on music. Easy conversation. No performance, no games. At home, things with Paige stayed exactly the same. Beach photo still glowing on her screen, Garrett still texting at all hours, her still insisting I was overreacting, and she'd done nothing wrong. "You're being paranoid," she'd say whenever I brought up Garrett. "He's literally just a friend. We have history, but that's all it is. History that you look at on your phone every single day. Oh my God, let it go. The photo is staying. If you can't handle that, maybe you're too insecure for this relationship." That line. Too insecure for this relationship. Classic move. Frame normal expectations as a character flaw so the other person backs down out of embarrassment. I didn't back down. I just stopped engaging with it. She wanted to keep that photo? Fine, I'd keep my options open. Carol and I started hanging out outside work. Coffee before shifts, lunch on weekends when our schedules lined up. She mentioned she'd been out of her last relationship for about 4 months. Wasn't looking for anything serious, just liked having someone to talk to who didn't have an agenda. "What happened with your ex?" I asked during one of our coffee meetups. He couldn't let go of his previous relationship. Kept comparing me to her. Kept talking about her. Had photos of them together all over his apartment. She shook her head. It was exhausting feeling like a consolation prize. Sounds familiar? You dealing with something similar? I told her about the phone background situation. She actually laughed, not in a mean way, just the recognition laugh. My ex said the exact same thing. It's just a good photo. Like, yeah, it's a great photo of you with someone else on a romantic trip. Read the room. It felt good to talk to someone who didn't make me feel crazy for having basic standards. Carol and I never crossed any lines. No physical stuff, nothing that would qualify as cheating. But we had chemistry, the kind of easy back and forth that makes you realize you might be with the wrong person. About 3 months into the friendship, we went hiking at a state park about an hour outside the city. Beautiful day, good trails, one of those late September mornings where the air is just starting to get that edge to it. Carol insisted on controlling the music in the car, which meant 45 minutes of country songs about heartbreak and redemption. She sang along to every single word, completely off key, didn't care even a little. The hike was 3 miles up to the summit with decent elevation. Carol kept pace easily, talking the whole way about work drama and her family back in Michigan and this podcast she'd gotten obsessed with. We reached the top, and the view was genuinely worth it. Columbus sprawling out in the distance, clear blue sky, trees starting to turn. "Get in here," Carol said, pulling me into frame with her phone. We took a few photos at the summit. 2 people smiling at the camera with a mountain view behind them. Nothing romantic about it. On the way back down, she talked about her ex again. How he'd been controlling, always needed to know exactly where she was, always framed it as love. "That's not love," she said. "That's ownership." Took me way too long to figure out the difference. We grabbed food on the way back and sat in the parking lot, talking until the sun went down. Easy, no pressure, no scorekeeping. Carol posted one photo to her Instagram that night, tagged me, captioned it, "Great hike with great company." Paige and I followed each other on social media, but barely interacted there. She never liked my posts, I never liked hers. It was just a connection that existed but didn't mean much. Apparently, this one meant something. I was in the middle of a shift the next day when my phone started going off. Text after text from Paige. "Who is Carol? Why are you hiking with other women? This is so disrespectful. We need to talk right now. Answer me. I cannot believe you would do this." I silenced my phone and finished my shift. Had a full truckload of inventory to check in and no time for relationship drama during work hours. Let her sit with it for a few hours. Maybe she'd calm down. She did not calm down. When I got home, Paige was on the couch, arms crossed, face set in that specific expression that meant a fight was already decided and I was already losing it. "Want to explain that photo?" she said before I'd even set my keys down. "Which photo?" "Don't. The hiking photo with that woman." "Oh, that. We went hiking. She's a friend from work." "A friend?" The word came out like she was testing how ridiculous it sounded. Since when do you go on romantic hikes with friends? It wasn't romantic. We hiked. As friends. Like people do. You were all over each other in that photo. I pulled it up on my phone. We were standing next to each other, both smiling, probably 6 inches of space between us. I turned the screen toward her. We were taking a photo at the summit. That's a standard hiking photo. It's completely inappropriate. You're in a relationship. And you have your ex's photo as your phone background, which is apparently fine. Her face went red. That is completely different. How? Garrett is just a friend. We have history. You're out there seeing someone behind my back. I sat down, kept my voice even. So, let me make sure I understand this. You can text your ex at all hours of the night, keep a photo he took of you on a romantic trip as your background, get defensive every time I bring it up, and that's fine because I'm insecure for caring. But I go hiking with a female coworker and I'm the bad guy. Yes, because I'm not interested in Garrett romantically. You're clearly interested in this Carol person. And you're clearly still hung up on Garrett. I am not hung up on Garrett. How many times do I have to say it? Change your phone background. Silence. She just stared at me. That's what I thought, I said. You won't change it because it means something. That photo, that trip, Garrett himself. They all still mean something to you. And you want to keep that door open while demanding I close every other door in my life. This is insane. You're deflecting. This isn't about my phone. It's about you cheating. I'm not cheating. I went hiking with a friend. We took a photo. That's it. Then why did she post it? Why did she tag you? She's staking a claim. Or she posted a photo from a fun day, like people do, every single day, on social media. We went in circles for another hour. Her insisting Carol was a threat and I was betraying her. Me pointing out the double standard. Neither of us moving an inch. Finally, I asked the question that ended the whole loop. Do you love Garrett? She froze just for a second, but long enough. That's not fair.
I literally just had the best date of my life. I wasn't going to share this, but you gotta try singletune.com. It's a total game changer.
Answer the question. I care about him, but not like that. Not anymore. But you still love him. Stop putting words in my mouth. Then answer it. Do you love Garrett? Yes or no? It's not that simple. It really is. Either you're over him or you're not. Either this relationship is your priority or it isn't. Which one is it? She grabbed her phone, that beach sunset photo lighting up her face, and stood up. I need some air. This is too much. She walked out, came back 3 hours later, and went straight to bed like nothing had happened. I didn't bring it up again that night. But something had shifted. I wasn't the one scrambling to explain myself anymore. I wasn't on defense. The tables had turned, and Paige didn't know what to do with that. Over the next few weeks, she became obsessed with Carol, checking my phone when she thought I wasn't looking, asking where I was going, who I was with, when I'd be back. The exact behavior she'd called controlling and insecure when I'd shown it about Garrett. Carol and I kept hanging out, still just friends. But I won't pretend the possibility of more wasn't there. We clicked in a way Paige and I never had. Conversations flowed without effort. No drama, no games, no keeping score. One Saturday, Carol invited me to an outdoor concert in the park. Local bands, food trucks, good weather. I mentioned it to Paige in passing. You're going to a concert with her? Her voice had that careful, controlled quality that meant she was working hard not to explode. Yeah, should be fun. You can come if you want. I knew she wouldn't. Paige hated crowds and live music. Called it overstimulating. I can't believe you're doing this. Throwing our relationship away for some woman you barely know. I've known Carol for 4 months. We work together. We're friends. This isn't just friendship, and you know it. You're welcome to join us tonight. The offer stands. I shouldn't have to join. You should want to spend time with me, not her. I spend plenty of time with you. Not enough. Not lately. The concert was great. We got food truck tacos, watched a few bands, sat on a blanket in the grass as the sun went down. Purely friendly. Nothing inappropriate. But sitting there that evening, I realized I was genuinely happy in a way I hadn't been in months. Easy happy, not performed happy, not trying to keep the peace happy. On the walk back to her car, Carol asked, "What's actually going on with you and Paige?" Honestly, I'm not sure there's much left to go on. The phone background thing is still happening. That's part of it. But it's bigger than that. It's the double standards. The way she wants me to accept her staying connected to her ex while treating my female friendships like crimes. Sounds exhausting. It is. We sat in her car for a while. She told me more about her last relationship, how her ex had slowly cut her off from friends until she felt completely isolated, how leaving him had been the hardest and best thing she'd ever done. "I'm not telling you what to do," she said. "That's your call. But from where I'm sitting, it doesn't sound healthy. You deserve someone who actually respects you." That night, I came home to find Paige had cooked dinner. Candles on the table, nice music, the whole setup. She was wearing the dress I'd complimented months ago. Hair done. The apartment smelled like something Italian. "What's all this?" I asked. "I've been thinking about us." Her voice was careful, rehearsed. "I don't want to lose you." She'd made chicken parmesan from scratch. Garlic bread, salad, wine. Must have taken her most of the afternoon. We sat down and it was a genuinely good meal. She'd followed a recipe and nailed it. "This is really good," I said. "Honestly? Thanks. I wanted to do something special." But her phone sat on the table the whole time. Beach photo background glowing with every notification. 3 texts during dinner, all from Garrett. She'd glance at each one and then back at me with that forced smile, not answering them, but clearly aware of every single message. She'd made cheesecake from the fancy bakery across town for dessert. "I've been thinking," she said, setting down her fork. "I don't want to lose you. I'm ready to actually work on things, starting with—" She picked up her phone, stared at it. For 1 second, I genuinely thought she might change the background right then. Then, she set it back down. "I can text Garrett less, and I'll stop being weird about Carol. That's fair, right? What about the photo? Can we not do this right now? I made this whole dinner. I'm trying here." "You're trying, but you're not actually changing anything. You'll text Garrett slightly less and trust me more with friends. But the photo stays. Why is it such a big deal? It's literally just a picture." Her phone buzzed. "Garrett." She glanced at it, read the message, smiled just slightly, set it back down. "Sorry, what were you saying?" That was it. All the candles and effort and scratch-made chicken parmesan didn't matter if she couldn't put down her phone for one conversation. "I'm sleeping in the spare room tonight," I said. "Are you serious right now, after everything I did today? I appreciate the dinner. I really do. Good night, Paige." I went to the spare room and locked the door. Lay there in the dark, listening to her cry in the kitchen, then heard her voice go quiet and low, talking to someone. Probably Garrett. My phone lit up with a text from Carol. "Hope last night wasn't too rough. Coffee before work?" "Definitely," I replied. The next few weeks, Paige and I were roommates more than anything else. She'd watch TV in the living room. I'd work out in the garage. We'd sleep in the same bed, but on opposite edges, like there was a wall down the middle. She was on her phone constantly. I was on mine. We stopped pretending to have conversations. Carol and I got closer. Still no physical line crossed, but emotionally we were more than friends and we both knew it. We talked every day, knew the details of each other's lives that went well past surface level. I knew it wasn't entirely fair to Paige, but it also wasn't fair that she demanded all my attention while giving hers to someone else. Two wrongs don't make a right, but sometimes they make things even. The breaking point came on a random Tuesday. I got home from work to find Paige in the bedroom packing a bag. Not folding anything, just grabbing clothes from drawers and stuffing them in, movements jerky and frustrated. "What's going on?" I asked from the doorway. "I'm staying at my mom's for a few days. I need to think." "Think about what?" "About us. About whether this is worth fighting for." Part of me wanted to stop her, to say we could figure it out. But the bigger part was just tired. Tired of the double standards. Tired of feeling like I was competing for her attention. Tired of being made to feel unreasonable for having normal expectations. "Okay," I said. "Take the time you need." She stopped packing and looked at me like I'd said something in a foreign language. "That's it? You're just going to let me leave? What do you want me to say?" I've been trying to talk about our issues for months. You shut me down every time. If you need space to think, take it. Don't you even care that I'm leaving? Of course I care, but I'm not going to beg someone to stay who doesn't want to be here. She went back to packing, harder now, slammed a drawer. You're unbelievable. I'm the one trying to save this relationship. How are you saving it by leaving? I'm trying to get perspective. You've had a year and a half of perspective. You've just been spending it on Garrett. She zipped up the bag and turned to face me. Are you seeing Carol? The moment felt like the edge of something. I could soften it, string it along, or I could just be honest. We're friends, I said. That's the honest answer. But if you're asking whether I want more than that, I paused. I don't know what I'd say. Her face went pale. Eyes got shiny. She stood there holding her bag for a long moment, processing it. Then she nodded slowly, jaw tight. At least you're honest. Are you still in love with Garrett? Same question I'd asked weeks ago. This time she couldn't dodge it. We'd hit the point where the lies just didn't work anymore. She set the bag down on the bed, sat on the edge of it, stared at her hands for a long moment. When she looked up, her eyes were wet. I don't know, she said quietly. Maybe I never stopped. The admission just hung there between us. Then that's your answer, I said. I don't want to love him. I want to love you. You're stable. You're responsible. You have your life together. You're the smart choice. I almost laughed. The smart choice. That's romantic. You know what I mean. Garrett is chaos. He's unpredictable. He's flaky. He'd probably be a disaster long term. But there's this pull. This history. I thought moving in with you would make it go away. That building something real with someone who has their act together would be enough. She looked at the floor. It wasn't. You shouldn't need space to figure that out, Paige. If you actually wanted this, there wouldn't be a question. The fact that you're torn between me and him tells you everything you need to know. So we're just done? 18 months and you're walking away? You're the one packing a bag. I'm trying to think. I know. Go think. She grabbed the bag, hesitated at the door. I'll call you in a few days. Don't bother. I think we both know how this ends. Stop being stubborn. I'm trying to work on this. No. You're trying to keep both options open while you decide who's the better deal. I'm not interested in being on the auction block. She left. I heard her car pull out of the driveway. Sat on the edge of the bed in the quiet, processing the fact that I didn't feel as bad as I probably should have. My phone buzzed. Carol. You seem off today. Everything okay? Long story. Can we talk? My place or yours? Yours. I'll bring food. I showed up at Carol's apartment with Chinese takeout and the full story. Everything from the beach photo to Garrett to the hiking photo to the dinner with the phone lighting up to tonight. She listened without interrupting, just nodding along, letting me get through all of it. So, what are you going to do? She asked when I finally stopped talking. I think it's over. Been over for a while. I just kept hoping I was wrong. How do you feel about that? I thought about it honestly. Relieved, sad. Both at the same time. We had good stretches. But there was always this undercurrent. This feeling like we were competing for each other's attention instead of actually being on the same side. Carol reached over and squeezed my hand. You deserve better than that. So do you. Your ex sounds like a nightmare. He was. But he taught me exactly what I don't want. Sometimes the wrong relationship is the best education you'll ever get. We talked until past midnight. When I finally stood up to leave, she walked me to the door. For what it's worth, she said, I think you're making the right call. And when you're ready, if you ever want to find out what this could be beyond just friends, I'd want that. Yeah, I said. Yeah, I think I would too. I drove home feeling lighter than I had in months. Paige's car wasn't in the driveway. The house was empty and quiet and peaceful. My phone lit up with a text from her. Can we talk tomorrow? Sure, I replied. What time? After work, I'll come by around 6. She showed up exactly at 6. We sat in the living room with that strange formality of two people who used to share a bed now treating each other like they're in a meeting. I've been thinking a lot, she started, about what you said about Garrett, and I think you're right. I wasn't fully over him when we started dating. I thought I was. But having him back in my life, seeing him at work, it brought everything back up. She paused. I want to work on it. On us. I'll cut off contact with him completely. Change the phone background. Whatever you need. There it was. Everything I'd asked for months ago. Complete surrender on every point we'd ever fought about. And it meant absolutely nothing. I don't think that's the solution, I said. Why not? I'm giving you everything you asked for. Because you should want to do those things, not do them because you're scared I'm moving on. The fact that it took me getting close to someone else for you to even consider changing shows what the real problem is. You don't respect this relationship. You want the security I provide while keeping your options open. And the second I did the same thing, you lost your mind. That's not fair. I cooked dinner. I tried to make things right. After months of calling me insecure and paranoid, after I'd already mentally checked out, it's too late, Paige. She started crying. So, that's just it. You're giving up. I'm not giving up. I'm accepting reality. We're not right for each other. You need someone who's okay with you maintaining close friendships with your exes. I need someone who makes me a priority. Those aren't compatible. What about Carol? Are you going to be with her now? Maybe, maybe not. That's not really the point. It's exactly the point. You're leaving me for her. I'm leaving because this relationship doesn't work. Carol has nothing to do with it. She just helped me see what I was missing. Someone who respects me. Someone who wants to be with me. Not just wants what I provide. We sat in silence for a minute. Then Paige stood up, straightened her jacket, picked up her bag. I'll start looking for a new place. Might take a few weeks. Take your time. I'm not trying to rush you out. She stopped at the hallway. Can I ask you something? Yeah. If I had changed that phone background at the beginning, back when you first brought it up, do you think we would have made it? I thought about it honestly. Maybe, but probably not. The background was just the symptom. The real problem went a lot deeper than a photo. She nodded once, walked back to the bedroom to pack properly this time. I stayed on the couch, staring at the wall, letting the quiet settle around me. 2 weeks later, Paige moved into an apartment across town. We split everything fairly. She took her furniture. I kept mine, settled up on utilities. The whole thing was surprisingly civil, the way breakups sometimes are when both people are secretly relieved. The day she moved out, I found myself staring at my own phone background. A generic landscape that had come preloaded on the phone when I bought it. Nothing personal. Just a placeholder I'd never bothered to change. I opened my photos and found one from the concert. Carol and me, both laughing at something just off camera. City lights behind us. I set it as my background. Felt right. Carol and I started officially dating about a month after Paige left. We took it slow, both of us cautious after what we'd each been through. But it was different from the start. Easy in a way I'd forgotten relationships could be. No games, no double standards, no keeping score. Just two people who actually liked each other trying to build something. About 3 months in, I ran into Paige at the grocery store. She was with a guy I didn't recognize. Not Garrett. Someone new. She looked good. Happy, even. Hey, she said, a little awkward. How are you? Good. You? Really good, actually. She glanced at the guy beside her. This is Scott. We made small talk for a few minutes. Scott seemed like a decent enough person. Nothing special, but Paige was smiling, the real kind of smile. Not the performed kind. I'm glad you're doing well, I said before heading toward the checkout. You too. She paused. And hey, I'm sorry for most of it. You were right. Water under the bridge, I said. Take care of yourself, Paige. I finished shopping and drove home. Carol was already at my place, in the kitchen prepping ingredients for some new recipe she'd found online, music playing, completely at ease in the space, like she belonged there. I leaned in the kitchen doorway and watched her for a second. The phone background thing seems almost funny now. It's just a screen, just pixels. But it pointed at something real. Someone choosing to look at their past every single day while asking me to pretend mine didn't exist. Someone wanting both doors open. while insisting I nail mine shut. I didn't nail anything shut. I just opened a different one.